Now, as I mentioned before, natures in the archetype system are defined by the setting because they are your stance in relation to the powers that govern the setting. And in Tall Tales, that is magic. Now, Tall Tales is the first game that I'm releasing for the archetype system, and so it's the only one where I have the natures already being worked out. They're already defined, and I'm just dealing with some details about them. And so I'm going to introduce natures by talking specifically about the natures in the Tall Tales game. I'm going to be grouping these into three categories. The first is natures that are native to the physical realm. The second is going to be natures that are native to the metaphysical realm. And the third is going to be two special natures that narrators need to decide whether or not they want to make available to their players as player character options. This video will be about the physical natures, of which there are 5. They are Changeling, Cryptid, Empath, Human, and Nephil. Now, I'm going to not do them in that order, and you'll see why. So the first one I want to talk about is Human. They are the same thing as humans are in the real world. In every way, they are essentially, you know what a human is, basically. Now, the thing that's important to remember in Tall Tales is that humans are dual entities. And what that means is that there is a physical nature and a metaphysical nature inherent to a human being. They have a physical expression and a metaphysical expression. And the relationship between them is why humans can do magic. It's why humans have some ability to be aware of what's going on in the metaphysical realm. But the distance between them, the separation, is why they're not always aware of what's going on in the metaphysical realm and why magic requires some effort. They're also very broad. That is, magically, they are able to access a wider range of magical elements than a lot of other entities are because they don't have a natural elemental affinity. When humans start getting into magic, they do have to choose a element to focus on, and that can be changed later. But basically, when you choose, you still limit yourself to some degree to what elements you can dabble in, but it is a much broader range because there's nothing inherently tying you to that element. Empaths, for all intents and purposes, are just humans. However, the distance between their physical selves and their metaphysical selves is smaller than regular humans. And because that distance is shorter, because they are closer in tune with their metaphysical selves, they are also more in tune with the metaphysical realm. And therefore, they have a certain awareness that the metaphysical realm is there. They can sense flows in it, they can sense changes in it, and it is easier for them to manipulate it, which is magic. It is easier for them to pick up magic. Changelings are humans that have been altered. That is, you have a human who has been connected so strongly with magical energy from one specific element that it has fundamentally changed who they are. They are infused with their element, and so in a lot of ways, they become a spirit. They are seen by a spiritual world as spirits, and they are engaged with as spirits. They also have a much more limited range of magical options available to them because they actually are infused and inherently connected to a specific element, and therefore that limits their options. It also, because it changes them physically, it can induce changes into terms of what they need and the types of things that they're physically capable of doing. Nephilim are the result of a union between a physical parent and a metaphysical parent. So if you have a character whose, mother is a human and whose father is a ghost or a demon or something like that, they're going to produce a child who is a Nephil, which is a person that does not have a dual nature. Nephilim do not have dual nature. They exist fully on one side or the other of the hedge. If they are in the physical realm, they are fully physical beings. And if you kill them, there is no ghost to remain because there isn't another part of them in the metaphysical realm. They are fully contained inside of their one thing. But also they have a very close tie to the element of their metaphysical parent. And so because of this, they have greater magic available to them than humans and empaths would, but a much more limited range of magical elements that they can dabble in. And finally, cryptid. Cryptids are embodied spirits. That is, they're not human in any way. They are a spirit or a race of spirits that at some point went native in the physical realm. They are bound to a physical body, but they don't have any humanity to them. They are a spirit that has a physical form and is trapped in that physical form. They cannot be banished because they don't belong somewhere else. Because they are fundamentally spirits, they also have a very specific alliance with a specific magical element, and that limits the range of magic that they can do. It limits their abilities, but because they're spirits that just kind of are in a body, they do have physical needs, but what their physical body actually looks like or how it operates can be very strange. And so you have things like you can play a Mothman, or you can play a Chupacabra, or you can play another thing where it is a cryptid that has been introduced into the game. Now, unlike systems like D&D, where your race or whatever would give you specific, pluses and minuses to different things, in the archetype system within Tall Tales, that actually comes from your elemental alignment. And so if you are a changeling that has been infused with water magic, then you're going to get benefits related to water, your affiliation with water. Whereas if you're human, if you don't have an elemental affiliation, you're going to have a different set of rules on terms of how you get to adjust your traits based on the fact that you are not fundamentally elemental. Now, that's all still being worked out. You can check out when I go live to work on the book at twitch.tv/rabbithaberdashery. You can also find videos that I make about the Tall Tales and the archetype system at Rabbit Haberdashery's YouTube channel. I encourage you to check both of those out and keep an eye out for more information on the system. As I said, later this week, I'll be doing the metaphysical natures, and then I'll do anchors and warlocks, which are kind of a special class of natures. They are physical natures, but they're unique in terms of how they relate as player characters. But keep an eye out for that, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.